Hey, Brad, how you doing today?
Doing great, Drew. How about yourself?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Hey, I have you on here. I just kind of want to, again, talk about what we're seeing in the market. I know every day it seems like we're seeing something new and things are changing so fast.
Yes.
First off, I mean, well, we can almost lead in 85,000 people, 85,000 people in South Carolina have filed for unemployment. And of course, I do know that, they have the forbearance plans that have been approved, but every servicer handles it a little bit differently. Do you have any information as far as that program?
Yep. So liability reasons, I can't talk about what I don't know. And reality, I can't really talk about what I do know. But here's the one thing that I do know that everybody needs to pay attention to. Call your servicer, ask as many questions as you can about your options. Make sure you are writing all of this down. And if you don't understand some of it, then reach out to your closing attorney who closed your last transaction. Reach out to somebody else and go through those options with them so you can better understand that. But you really need to call your servicer. Don't listen to the media. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody else. Call your servicer. Ask every question you can. Write it all down. And before you make a decision, reach out to somebody else. Most notably, I would say reach out to your closing attorney who closed your last transaction and ask them. And if they can't tell you, they'll direct you to somebody who can answer those questions for you.
Okay. I've been trying to learn a little bit more about this plan just because, of course, people are going to come and ask me. And, I can't answer them perfectly either. But one of probably the biggest frustrations is all the service providers are going to handle it differently. And almost none of them will actually give you the exact answers on how you're going to have to pay it back. Because at the end of the day, let's say they give you 3 months of no late fees, or your credit doesn't get hit, you still have to catch up on those payments. So the big item is, do you have to pay all 3 months immediately when that 90 days is up? Which my understanding is you don't, but it could be a possibility. How the new payment plans are going to be, and of course, how the prepaids are going to be. Every mortgage payment, you're putting in the taxes, homeowner insurance, and if that's not caught up and your mortgage company pays it out of their own funds, it could have them put you on a forced insurance plan that bumps that insurance plan a lot higher. So again, we don't know any of this exactly, but those were some of the fears, basically like what you're saying, get as many questions answered as possible.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it's not a free lunch. So,
right. And it all goes back to, those are great questions, and those are questions I've been fielding, I promise you, every day via text, phone call, email, Facebook message. But my answer has been the same for every one of them. This is a very fluid situation, and things are gonna change throughout this whole process and time frame. So go ahead and call your servicer, ask the questions, get that figured out. I believe I can say this: if you can make your mortgage payment, make your mortgage payment.
Okay.
But other than that, if you can't, call your servicer and find out what your options are.
Yeah. And again, I think a lot of those servicers will not give an exact answer. So that's kind of you hate to say it, but buyer beware. If you're unemployed and you can't make the payment, you're still allowed to make partial payments. That may be the better suggestion at this point.
It may be. And I think go to your servicer's website. A lot of them are having information posted on there. It should be under a COVID-19 section or whatever it is. So go to the website, look at that, but make the phone call, spend the time, be patient. Make sure you wait. If it's a 30-minute wait time, an hour wait time to get somebody on the phone, be patient, please, and wait.
Yeah.
And get your answers, get your questions answered appropriately.
And I think we both will end that little topic as far as saying we can't give you the exact answers. We're trying to help you ask the right questions, but they've got to do the research on them by themselves.
Yeah, it's just like you said, everything's different. And if you and I start giving advice, then and it's not right, then that you and I have done a disservice instead of a service. And so I love the fact you and I are always on the same page about those kinds of things. But this is one of those. I know I've said it 5 times already. Pick up the phone, stay on hold if you have to. Be patient, get a hold of your servicer, and get your options figured out.
Okay. Then the next thing, of course, what I'm hearing is, of course, we both know there's a lot of fear in this market right now. You know, the sellers are afraid. They don't want people coming through their houses. Buyers are afraid because they don't know what the financial future is going to bring. But this is the part that kind of surprised me. I've been really trying to pay attention to the stats. I'm getting sick of the local, not even the local news, national news. You're hearing all these national stats. And of course, that doesn't correlate here. And I want to know what the true numbers are. I do not want to go over this. Okay, you have an agenda and you're telling me what to believe. Right. So again, when I run stats, I like to do them for a year, 6 months, 3 months minimum. But just out of the last 2 weeks. So in the last 2 weeks, we've pretty much had the stay-at-home orders. So we've been in the thick of the coronavirus. I found this interesting. 693 properties went on the market.
Okay.
How many in only 14 days on the market? How many do you think have gone under contract or closed? You probably have a better guess.
35%.
You're darn close, man. 32%.
32%.
No, I mean, if I was just to tell you that the days on market would be 14 days on the market, tell me how many of those could go under contract in 14 days. I would not have guessed 32%.
And the only reason I'm making that guess is because this is what I look at every day. I don't look at the numbers that you're talking about, but of course, I'm talking with buyers and sellers every day. And it amazes me the last couple of weeks how many times the phone has rang to tell me, hey, man, I'm putting my house on the market tomorrow. Yeah. Great. Let me know when you sell it. 24, 48, 72 hours later, I'm getting phone calls back. Man, I sold my house. I had 3 offers on it. I got maxed offer. This is so great. So the only reason I guess that 35% is because of the phone calls I've been taking.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you know the market better than most. I cannot imagine anyone else coming that close. Yeah. Okay. Now this is even a crazier stat.
All right.
How many basically have gone off the market?
Of that 693?
Yeah. Well, so under 2%. So 1.6%. And of course, a lot of this is, I do think the realtors are starting to do a better job as far as setting expectations for the showings. And I mean, there's one document I have here. It's interesting. Basically, it's kind of like a sign-in sheet that says you acknowledge all these things. Like, okay, you have not experienced any cold or flu-like symptoms. You have not been diagnosed with COVID-19. No pending tests, etc. So, I mean, everyone is taking this a lot more serious than we were looking at 30 days ago. 30 days ago, people were making fun of it on Facebook. Now we're actually getting disclosures written up and game plans talked with the sellers about before we ever put their house on the market.
Yep.
So,
well, let's go back to the number. You said 1.6%.
Yeah.
Now, with that, pulled off the market. Now, let me tell you.
With that being said, though, these were stats if they went on the market in the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
But before that, I did a 45-day search, and I mean, it was ridiculous. I don't think I have them in front of me. I have a video of it, but yeah, I mean, it was basically under 10. If I did 45 days on the market, less than 10 actually got withdrawn. And one of the searches I did, it was weird. They're almost all from Northeast Columbia. So, and I guess Kershaw and Richland County had more cases.
But, when you asked me that question initially, my first thought was 10 to 15%, not because I had any understanding of it. I had been receiving phone calls about people taking their house off the market. I was just thinking in terms of what was going on. So to me, that's a very promising sign.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the last 2 weeks at a 1.6 withdrawal rate, I mean, that's huge. And then is where we are today, especially here and I don't know what other lenders are doing, just know what we're doing. And if I could show you the month to date volume that our loan officers are pulling and how high a percentage of that is actually purchased, it would shock you, not you, but it would shock the average consumer, because we're not seeing a huge slowdown. Mortgage applications have dropped some, yes, but here for some reason in this area, we're still rolling right through it. It's business as usual as far as numbers are concerned.
Now, I will tell you, I think and this cannot be a good comparison, obviously, but in the winter months, what we see is there's a lot less listings on the market and less, if a buyer's looking, some of them have to buy. If a seller needs to sell, they have to sell. And in this market especially, there's going to be some sellers, if they put it on the market, they're pricing it to say, okay, let's do it at a fair price, but I have to sell it, so let's not put it on 20% above list price.
Right.
So basically, you're seeing both people have enough motivation to make this happen. Because again, I mean, the stats are they're actually shocking me. I mean, the percentage that are going under contract almost instantly.
Yep.
And we're not getting as many showings as we had. I heard from one agent 70% reduction in showings.
Right.
So these are people get in, they make an offer. Right. And that's a great situation.
Well, and I don't know this to be 100% true, but here's an opinion of mine. And this is from talking to a couple of customers who live out of state, who are moving here. Two people that I had pre-qualified very recently have stopped their home search momentarily. They're just putting it on pause because they can come down here. They're not supposed to based on where they live. But I think they also look at it and say, hey, it's probably not the best time for us to be traveling. So I think a lot of that, we got to look and try to figure out how many people who are buying houses on a monthly basis are actually moving from another state to here and how much impact that's really having on it.
That would be a fascinating stat, because I would not be surprised at all if we're getting a big influx. I mean, you got to imagine if you're living in the state of New York, which we see so many New Yorkers move down here.
Absolutely.
And their local news with what's going on up there. And then they look at a map and they see, less in the whole state of South Carolina than their county in their state. I mean, that just has to be just shocking to them.
Yep.
So, but yeah. So let's see. And so basically you're not seeing, I was reading one article, CNBC said mortgage applications fell 16%. Are you seeing, what kind of numbers do you think you're seeing on that?
For us, once again, and I hate using this, for us, we're just a different model, right? And so if we look at, and I was not at Guild at this time last year, but I get to see those numbers. Our numbers are growing. If I told you what we did last month, it would shock you. Our amount of volume that we did last month was very big. And we've got a lot of volume that we're going to do this month as well. So for us right now, we're not seeing a drastic decrease in applications. Purchase applications may be down a hair, but it's minimal at best.
Okay. And then how many people are actually having the conversation with you right now as far as should I refinance versus sell? Have you had many of those conversations?
A few. We are obviously going after our pipeline, our existing pipeline from past customers, to talk to them about the outright financial advantages to refinancing right now. Lower your rate. You can skip 1 to 2 months of payment. If cash is king right now, I mean, how great is that? If your mortgage payment's $1,500 a month and you can skip 2 months of payments while you're lowering your interest rate, you just put $3,000 extra in your pocket. So while I'm talking to the customers, we're asking them, hey, do you love it or are you going to list it? Right? I spin off that HGTV show or whatever it is. But so we get a lot of mixed answers on it. But I haven't talked to anybody directly that said, hey, I was going to sell my house, but I'm not going to right now. I'm gonna refinance. I can tell you this, and Drew, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I truly believe if you're going to sell your home, now is the time to do it. And I don't want to breed fear or anything like that, but 12 months from now, what are home values going to be like? We don't know that. So if you want to sell your home now, sell your home now. You're fetching top dollar in the market for it, right? Sell your home now, make the profit and take the proceeds you're going to make on that, sell the home, convert it to another home if you're going to. But no time's better than right now to buy a home, sell a home, or to refinance your home. Yeah. And the more you do, the better the economy is going to be anyway.
And again, what that comes down to is, of course, your needs too. Right now, you don't want to necessarily make decisions based on fear, but life-changing scenarios, like if you're going to be retiring in the next year or two, go ahead, make certain you get that full market value price and lock in those low interest rates, because I'm sure you don't know or maybe you do. What do you think is going to be happening in the mortgage industry over the next 12 months?
If I had that crystal ball, I'd be living on the beach somewhere. Mortgage rates are a tricky thing. As soon as as soon as great news comes out about a solution to the coronavirus, a vaccine, whatever it may be, we'll see market conditions correct. And even though the stock market's doing okay right now, right, it's doing better than most people probably anticipated for where we were a couple of weeks ago. It is, if something super positive comes out about the coronavirus, we could see a small spike in interest rates, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. The quantitative easing that the government's doing, 3 weeks ago, they announced a $750 billion QE package. So what is quantitative easing? Quantitative easing for them in that stage was two things: $500 billion worth of treasuries every month, or $500 billion total worth of treasuries, and $250 billion worth of mortgage-backed securities. Well, after several days of that, they decided that they were going to take that off the table. But they weren't taking the money off the table. They were taking the cap off the table. So right now, the federal government is spending billions, tens of billions of dollars a day on mortgage-backed securities and on treasuries. So what does that do? That creates liquidity in the market and takes tension off of those two markets, which is what drives interest rates. So that being said, they don't have a plan to stop that anytime soon. So even if as the market corrects itself, sure, we may see the interest rates go up a little bit, but with this QE process, quantitative easing going on, we should see rates pretty good for a little while. But once again, that doesn't guarantee it. If I had that crystal ball, I promise you, I'd tell you, nobody really knows where they're going to be 6 months from now or 12 months from now. What we do know is today, Drew, they are what? They are very good, right? Yeah. Money is very cheap. I mean, rates in the 3s, go down to a 15-year, rates could be in the 2s, right? So if you're looking to take advantage of those rates, there's no reason to wait. Today would be the day to move because nobody really knows where we're going to be a month from now, 6 months from now, or 12 months from now.
Yeah, and I think I think Trump's right in the fact that we're going to see some pent-up demand. I'm not certain what's going to happen to house values because we already have a shortage on sellers. And if people are refinancing right now, I just do not know what the inventory is going to look like. And I think we're going to have a strong, summer. So we'll see how that plays out. But just like you can't figure out the rates, I cannot guarantee what's going to happen to the home values. Right. But right now, with the interest rates being in such an affordable area, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity right now.
Well, and let's be honest, the days on market is huge. People are selling their homes quick.
Yeah.
When you sell your home, you're going to buy another one most likely, right? So the person buying it's getting a low interest rate. When you go to buy your next home, you're going to get a low interest rate. You're fetching top dollar, and you do it in a very quick fashion. Once again, I'll say it again. I think now is the best time to do either sell, buy, or refinance. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those options right now.
Now, and I haven't made this yet, but I'll give you first at bat.
All right.
I do not want to interfere with any relationships, of course, and you know that. But I'm going to create a hardship helper. So basically, if someone is going to sell their house because they got laid off, they're just having a hardship during this time, have them reach out to me.
Okay.
Or I want to coordinate what I offer based on their needs.
Okay.
But you know me, if I say I'm going to give them a good deal, we're going to make certain that, they're going to be taken care of.
I like it. It's a very good idea. And I expect over the next several weeks, every loan officer and real estate agent will be having some conversations that come down to, hey, I need help because this happened. So that's great that you're willing to pitch in and help like that. I think it's going to be needed, especially over the next few months, to help families and individuals who may be impacted by this.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, let's try to meet again next Thursday, because next Thursday we could have completely different conversations at this rate.
Yep.
But I think we had a good conversation today, and let's just keep working hard, because man, I know on your side, I imagine it's pretty busy, and man, days just keep ticking by.
Yep. And I'll say it again, if you've got any questions about refinancing or purchasing and what's going on right now, by all means, reach out to Drew, reach out to me. You got two really solid guys here who understand what's going on and can give you some good guidance and direction. And right now, it's ultimately important that you get great guidance and great direction while you're selling your home, buying your home, or refinancing. small things can make a big difference for you right now.
Good stuff, man. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, Drew. Take care.